I did some research. I'll go through it very quickly because my time is almost up. But I did some research. I'm presenting it for the first time in this conference. I surveyed 3 groups, 14 Christian leaders, 18 members of the American Public Health Association, public health providers who are in the Faith Caucus, who dedicate their life to faith and healing issues, and 21 participants in a class on Islam in Davenport, Iowa, trying to get a sample from all over the place. And I asked them 2 questions. One, which has nothing to do with women in Islam, do you associate Islam with terrorism more or less since 9/11? I was curious. And then the second one was a free association. Have you ever seen the ink blot tests where they show up an ink blot and they ask, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you see this picture? And you write down whatever comes. I asked them to do that. I said, what comes to your mind when you see a woman in hijab? What are the first 2 words that pop into your mind? The Christian clergy group said to the first question, do you associate Islam and terrorism more or less? Only 1 said less. 5 times that many said more. They said that they associate Islam and terrorism more since 9/11, and 7 said the same. They thought it would be more politically correct to say that the media hadn't influenced them at all. That's all right. That's all right. I suspected that they had some negative thoughts before, and they still have some negative thoughts about Islam and terrorism. But the words that they came up with, this enlightened group of Christian leaders, surprised me. When they see a woman in a scarf, and oh my gosh, I think I spelled oppression wrong. That's really bad. Is that wrong? Is it OPP? Oh, typo. Oppression was the word that they came up, 3 or 4 people had that as their first response. Repression, Muslim, dangerous, extremist, fundamentalist, hidden, suppressed, faithful. Thank heavens there was one good word. Strange, low self-esteem, small value, hidden, forbidden. These were the words that the Christian leaders came up with when they see a woman in hijab. The next group. Again, very few people associated Islam and terrorism less. Then 5 said more, and 10 said about the same. And the words they came up with were, when they see a woman in hijab, Muslim, faith, Arab, Middle Eastern, foreign, then it gets ugly. Subservient, different, conservative, depressed, sad. But they had some other things like order, ceremony, Islamic, friend, refugee. And then my favorite of all, must be nice. You had to like that response, that they saw a woman in hijab and they thought, this must be a nice person. Then the Presbyterians. You have to love the Presbyterians. They gave a 10-week series in Islam, 10-week class in Islam, and they did a better job than truly I've ever seen any Muslims educate people about Islam. It was a wonderful job. The words, of course, more people associated Islam with terrorism than not. And the words they came up with, Middle Eastern, conservative, pre-modern, devout, abused, oppressed, uneducated, poor, foreign, sheltered, suppressed, docile. Things like mysterious. An older woman who couldn't see very well felt this looked like I had a white hijab that day, felt it looked like a marriage gown. So she said marriage, that's what it reminded her of. Otherworldly, which is one of my favorite, otherworldly, that's what we look like to some people. Not free, different, kind, shy, unapproachable. And then the hippie in the audience wrote, cooler than I thought. All right. So I bring this forward to you. This is a tiny piece of research, but it's done with 3 different groups. And it's to say that our bottom line is that most say that they feel the same about Islam's connection with terrorism, but at least 3 times as many in these surveyed groups felt that they associated Islam more with terrorism.